Mary Magdalene as sacred prostitute. There is so much we can learn from the archetypal energy of Mary Magdalene around sacred sexuality, around sacred prostitute, around call to serve the world in some way through love, through sexuality, with grace mixing in there. So we definitely, with Mary Magdalene and sacred prostitute, need to combine grace with sexuality. So let's just make sure that we are all on the same page here as we walk into this. This is very much about sacred prostitute. It's very much about sacred sexuality. I would love to share with you everything I can in the next 15 minutes around how Mary Magdalene kind of shows us the way, like illuminates the path of the sacred prostitute, what we can learn from her as an archetypal energy. This goes way beyond myth, goes way beyond story, goes way beyond the argument of was she human, was she not, are these just stories? There's an energy. So there's a vortex of energy, like we can call it a flavor of Shakti, a flavor of the divine feminine. We can call it an archetypal energy. It's a particular flavoring of energy, or it's an essence of energy. And that's what I am referring to when I'm referring to Mary Magdalene. So we can leave myth and story, help us to move into the flavor and into the embodiment of the energy, but they don't always take us there. It's more of a transmission of Mary Magdalene. So like Mary Magdalene practices, a woman who transmits the Mary Magdalene essence, right? Being in a sacred circle where there's a devotion to Mary Magdalene, there's an experiential exploration of Mary Magdalene. That's where the magic resides. That's where the big transformation within self resides. That's where the awakening of dormant capacities around sacred prostitute, or around loving in a different way, or around our capacity to be a channel for grace happens, is from this place. And so we're gonna try to walk into that in this short video, right, with the time that we have. So I'm going to invite you to just breathe your heart open. This is a really beautiful Mary Magdalene practice. Is imagine your heart center. This is your middle wisdom center, is your heart center. And imagine that it's a rose bud. And it can be red, it could be pink, it could be white, it could be whatever color comes to you. Just imagine it's a rose bud. And now, breathing so fully in your heart, softening your jaw, softening your eyes, softening your throat, softening your shoulders, and breathing in a way and invoking love to flow from above and love to rise from below. So you're just inviting like the love channel to open, right? You invite the love channel from above to flow down, love channel from below to flow up. And as that love from above and below flows into the heart, into that rosebud, you can breathe, you can move, you can sound, and you visualize that rosebud opening. So you just visualize that rosebud opening, as more love flows from above and from below. So just letting that love flow from above and from below right into the heart center to let the rosebud blossom, to let the heart open. It unfurls, it opens, it widens. And as that happens, you feel your love, your capacity to love deepens. It gets bigger. There's more. Your capacity to sense love around you gets bigger. Your capacity to let love pour out of that rosebud gets bigger. Now imagine that love that's flowing, that's pouring. Now imagine that love or that rosebud moves down to your sexual center. Moves right down to your sexual center. Man, woman, right down to the sexual center. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is bringing love to our sexuality. It is bringing love to our sexuality. It's bringing love to our lower wisdom center. It's bringing love right into our pelvic bowl. It's bringing love right into that area of the body. And so just allowing that rose that's blossomed to just move down. And now let love pour through that area of the body. Pour through that area of the body. Pour through that area of the body. This is one tiny little Mary Magdalene practice. Tiny little Mary Magdalene practice. Tiny. Her gift, one of her gifts to us, is a preparation to love through sexuality, to bring grace to our sexual centers, to bring grace to our lower chakras, to allow that channel of grace and love to flow through our yoni, to flow through a phallus, to flow through the body. So part of Mary Magdalene's gift to us and teachings, part of Sacred Prostitute, just what Sacred Prostitute owns, is my body is a temple of the divine. My body is a temple. Every bit of my body is a sacred temple that is a channel for love. There is no part of my body that is not grace-filled, that cannot channel grace through it, in it, outside of it. There is no part of my body. Now, feel into the potency of sexual energy. It's enormous, right? Even in its ridiculously distorted dormant forms, which is pretty much the world, right? Even in its ridiculously distorted dormant form, or it's not fully alive, it's not been awakened completely, even in that form, it is a very powerful force. It is a very powerful force. The magnetic attraction it creates, the chaos it creates, the power that's held within our sexuality. So feeling into, if we were to do the practices, to do the work, to walk this path of Sacred Prostitute, to walk this path of bringing the divine down to lower centers, bringing the divine into our sexuality, which is also our creativity. This doesn't have to take the form of fucking, right? It doesn't have to take that form at all. It can be a very different creative expression. But imagine you're weaving that amount of sexual power, the amount of power that's held in sexuality, right? You're weaving that into love and grace from a place of service. This is enormous. This is mind-blowing. This is life-shattering. This is ego-shattering. This is miraculous healing type stuff. There is so much potential held within Sacred Prostitute. There is so much gifting held within Sacred Prostitute because of the enormous potency that's there, the enormous amount of juice, of power, right? So just sexuality, distorted and dormant on its own, can move mountains. It can move people. It can move things. It can pull things into your life, push things away. It can move us very unconsciously most of the time. It's an extraordinary, powerful force. And most of us shut it down because it's so powerful that it's like messed up our lives, or it's made us make bad decisions, or, you know, we end up in goofy relationships, or we end up, for whatever reasons. Now imagine that door is fully open, right? It's fully open, fully open. You have all of that juice, all of that power, all of that potency alive and available to you. Now imagine that it's been so aligned with your heart. There's a line between your heart and your sexual center. And most people have it cut like right here. There's a cut. There's a cut in the line. So love does not mix with sexual energy. Sexual energy stays low. Love stays in the heart. It doesn't mix, but what you want to be able to do and what you want to be able to get to is where sexual energy mixes with heart energy. Sexual energy fully mixes so you are heart aligned. Then you take it to another level. Then you take it to another. This is a step-by-step. This isn't just like a one weekend workshop and all of a sudden you've got this whole thing sorted out, right? But I'm giving you like a little taste of this path, because in the last Sacred Prostitute video that we did, there were lots of questions about what next. How do I walk this path? How do I know when I'm ready? How do I know if I'm called to this? By the way, if you want to watch that video, there's a link up above and you'll find a link in the description below. But when you mix the sexual energy with the heart energy, right? You've got that like fully moving. It becomes very different. One, you've opened up the power and the potency of sexual energy. Now you've opened up and you're accessing the power and the potency of love. Like big love. This also takes lots of heart practice, like lots of heart opening, heart practice. So you're mixing it in with love. Huge. Most of the planet has a very hard time mixing sexual energy, like the full potency of sexual energy and all of its different expressions with love. Like imagine expressing like the deep, dark, erotic, wild expressions, right? Like the darker expressions, not dark bad, but like, you know, like I just want to be on top of a man and I want to just rip into his chest, right? Like that's, if I had to say, like if there was one sexual drive that I have right now, it would be that. I would want to be on top and I would want claws in his chest and I would want to just be ripping into him. But I'm not ripping into him from a place of anger or rage or fear or a low level place. I'm actually picturing the man who I would want to be ripping into right now. And to me, it is a gift of love, right? It is a gift of love. It is a gift of high love, and is probably, I don't know because I'm not in the moment with him, but it is probably the thing that would gift him the most. It is probably the energy, the expression of love, of sexuality, of grace. It is probably the expression of it that would most serve him in this moment. That would most serve him. It would most serve the moment. It would most serve him. It would most serve me. It would most serve like the all of everything. That's sacred prostitution. That's being a sacred prostitute. You are serving the all of everything, and you have so many channels open. You have all of these expressions open. I have deep, submissive, surrendered, feminine open as a gift to love, as a gift to the all of everything. It's not a gift to that person's little ego. It's not a gift to my own little needy inner child. I don't want to say inner child in sexuality, but my own little needy inner little Sabrina, right? It's way beyond that. That's sacred prostitution. That's where Mary Magdalene takes you. And this requires not just heart, this requires that the whole channel is open, that whole central column is open. So now you are not just mixing sexual energy with heart love energy, you are mixing it with high vibratory grace from above. You are coming from a place of you are open and you are present to the allness of everything. And you fuck from that place, right? You move. It moves you. The divine moves you. Love moves you. Love moves my hands into claw position and claws that man's chest. Love moves me. I am moved by something way beyond myself. I have become a channel for that, right? I have worked through so many expressions of I want to say feminine and masculine, and I will. We can go into this more. We can go into this deeper later. By the way, we will go into this a lot in reunion. So reunion is an experiential exploration of this, of union, of what will take us closer and closer toward capacity to express sacredness through sexuality, the capacity to serve in this way, serve ourselves, serve the whole world, serve our lover, serve in a healing capacity, serve in an awakening capacity, serve in a creative capacity, serve, it touches all forms. You'll find a link below to join that as well. Yeah, I won't talk more about that. But can you feel where Mary Magdalene takes us? Can you feel into what is required? The amount of opening, of awakening, of surrendering over to something way beyond little self, way beyond false self, to the requirement, or what she gives us. I'm not even going to hammer us about requirement, but what Mary Magdalene gifts us with, or these practices. It doesn't even have to necessarily be Mary Magdalene, right? Parvati can take you there. Lolita can take you to some of these places. You want to work with dark goddess energies like Medusa, like Lilith, they can take you there. You want to work in lower chakras, and archetypal embodiment might not be your thing, right? That working in the different Shakti, the different threads of the feminine energies might not be your thing. It might be more, I'm actually just called to work with my first chakra, my base chakra. Great, find practices to work with your base chakra. You might just feel, I'm really just called to work with my heart chakra. Great, whatever your doorway in is, it's about the awakening and the opening of this whole channel, and finding ways to release everything that's not high true self. Finding ways to release the fears, release the judgment around digging my claws into man's chest as an expression of love. Right? My fears around being surrendered, fully surrendered feminine, or my judgment around that. I might judge that as weak. I know I had to work through that. You'll see lots of YouTube videos on that one, around sexuality and that aspect of the feminine, that like extreme aspect of the feminine. And that as a gift. So it's really a very unique path to all of us, and it's an awakening path. It's an evolutionary path. It's an enlightenment path. Sacred Prostitute is an enlightenment path. Tantra is an enlightenment path. They often refer to it as like riding the white tiger. Most of the time, you will get thrown off of the white tiger and eaten by it, because it is so demanding. It is so demanding. It is so powerful. It is so potent, because we're working with sexual energy, because we're opening up those doors, and we're not doing what a lot of other spiritual traditions have done, which is deny the lower chakras, deny, right? You will not take on a partner. You will not have sex. You will take vows of celibacy, because it's too hard to purify that. It's too hard to bring divinity there. We will never be able to express the divine through our sexuality. So what will we do? We will just remove that from the human experience. That's a part of what we also have to oftentimes come up against, is where have we absorbed that conditioning? Oftentimes that's not a very conscious, accessible, surface level accessible thing. It's something that will come up when we start to do the deep work, is these absorbed collective thoughts, patterns, belief systems around bringing the divine into the whole of the body, bringing the divine into the bedroom. That sacred prostitution is a very high level form of grace-filled gifting. It is an extremely powerful form. It is extraordinarily powerful. The ability to mix those energies in your body and transmit them out into the world in whatever form or fashion that looks. Again, you can refer to the other video. We talk about different ways that it can look. It's not just sex, right, as the expression of it. All right, this has been beautiful. Love this. For more, go check out that Sacred Prostitute video. Go sign up for Reunion. That's where we do the big experiential practices that I've talked about. Check out some of the other videos that are listed below. And I send you so much love on this path. Mwah.